Welcome to EPG Pathshala. My name is Purendra Prasad. I work in the Department of Sociology, University of Hyderabad. Today I am going to talk about the module on ability and disability. This is part of the Sociology of Health course. What is ability and what is disability? So, human societies have defined ableness and disabledness based on the societal expectations. Okay. So, the ability and disability actually is dependent on the definitions of normality and abnormality. So, now question comes, what is normal? And only then we can talk about abnormal. Normality is defined within the biomedical discourse that one is able to function according to the needs of the society, meaning that in terms of performing certain activities in a particular manner. Okay. So, ability is actually based on performance, okay, and therefore, I think people who are not able to live up to this particular kind of expectation of the society have all been treated as disabled or abnormal kind of definitions. Of course, there is no one definition of disabled or disability because the way disability has come into the discussion was through certain kinds of non-performance or inability to perform. For instance, impairment. When they talk about impairment, it is about certain negative connotation, that it is largely about not able to see, not able to talk, speech disability, or in terms of handicapped. Okay, so it's about certain physical organs not actually functioning or partially they are able to use. So, in that sense, disability discussion actually started with impairment, handicapped, and then they started actually characterizing these people as people who lack something. Okay, normal people have X, Y, Z. The disabled people actually lack certain things. Okay, this is where I think the two models actually come into the discussion. One is a medical model of disability. Second one is social model of disability. The medical model of disability talks about how people who lack certain organs or use of certain of their organs need actually medical help. So, what they mean is that these disabled people will have to be under the supervision of the medical kind of a knowledge, and so they are a dependent population. Okay, and the medical model advocates that they are disabled because of their physiological abnormalities or psychological abnormalities, and in order to address some of these abnormalities, they need to actually take medical help, and they would be actually taken care of by the medical professions and hospitals and clinics, and therefore they also advocate that state or legal or community based services will all have to be linked to the medical knowledge of disability, what needs to be helped. So it's all about helping them. Social model critically engages with these questions, and it actually questions the very definition of disability as impairment. Social models actually says that it is the society which actually creates the limitation for the people to perform or not able to perform in a particular social environment. It is the societal rules and societal kind of organizational structure that provides the limitations. For example, they are not able to participate in educational institutions and other activities because there is no adequate kind of transport. They do not have access to the high-rise buildings, or they do not have actually proper understanding of the disabled people in terms of providing them adequate resources and study material. So social model advocates that it is society which has failed in providing and equipping according to the needs of the people who have certain kinds of limitations. And this is where social model advocates that it is not the problem of the disabled, but it is the problem of society, and therefore what needs to be restructured is in terms of how society can facilitate, empower, provide, recognize the differential kind of needs of people. Okay. So these are two different sets of theories, okay, or models that actually engage with the disability studies. Okay. So when you look at the social model, when they talk about interventions, the interventions are not actually advocated simply based on sympathy, based on pity, based on the perceived needs of the people, but what needs to be planned and what needs to be actually formulated is how do you include these people. Okay. It is not simply about identity, recognition, sympathy and welfarist kind of attitude for the disabled people, but it is more about including these people, recognizing them as equal, recognizing that they are as capable and competent, and they have equal kind of rights, entitlements like that of other categories of people. So social model of health actually turned around the entire discussion to more in terms of the societal kind of responsibility and restructuring the social organization to cater to the needs of the people. Here again, Oliver Sacks and other kind of scholars actually say that social model also has certain limitations because they do not recognize beyond satisfaction of or pointing out to certain societal kind of failures. Critical disability studies point out that what is important is to recognize all these people as equal citizens, and therefore the human rights discourse comes into play, talking about it is the citizenship, it is about recognizing the social and political rights. Okay. So critical disability study actually talks about how there is enormous discrimination in the society based on certain institutional kind of practices which are more favorable to certain class, certain categories of people. So when you look at these discussions and debates, okay, the critical disability studies point out that, you know, only by providing them as equal citizens there is any possibility of inclusion that is happening in the society. Okay. So when you look at the linkage between disability and healthcare studies or health sector, okay, if you look at, there are two important points. One, 70 to 80% of these disabled people actually are, poor, lower class, who come from underprivileged backgrounds. So that becomes actually a double or triple burden for them, because the accessibility to education, accessibility to employment, accessibility to livelihood options, I think all get restricted because of their class background. And while a lot of these disability studies actually point out the welfarist, human rights, and the social model kind of perspectives, what does not get actually clearly marked out is about their class background. A lot of it is to do with the poverty, their lower class kind of a position, and of course if you look at again intersectional kind of aspects, people who are disabled and women actually face much higher kind of discrimination compared to the people who are actually male. So within a patriarchal society, how women actually belonging to disabled group face a discrimination. So the linkage in terms of the health sector is that while medical model advocates that it's only through empowering them and providing help through medical kind of services that they can be brought onto the mainstream society. Sociologists actually question, saying that reducing the disabled body or the bodies with differential abilities only in terms of organismic, biological, physiological kind of abnormalities, it does not lead anywhere. Okay. And sociologists also actually talk about how the healthcare services actually will also have to be redesigned in terms of needs of the communities, needs of the people. Okay. So when you look at different categories of disabled people, whether it is visually challenged, whether locomotive disability, whether people in terms of hearing disability, so each of these categories have different kind of needs, and within the disabled groups, the way certain categories of people actually gets lot more kind of emphasis in the policy framework does not actually provide the required kind of support mechanism. So in a sense, okay, all that we are trying to say is that we need to recognize these individuals actually are these individuals who are affected with different kind of abilities, not in terms of their individual problem, but the way societies have over a period of time actually created certain kinds of limitations for them to operate or function in a normal setting. Disability actually is defined, okay, according to certain international and national kind of parameters in a way which actually reflects the broader kind of notion of the physical abnormalities. Um, the sociological literature points out that the very definition of disability, there are a lot of concerns and issues. I think this is where one needs to look at the way society and its organizational structures actually emerge in the society. Second important thing is about the way disabled people are treated as if they require help, they require certain kinds of pity and sympathy, and this is where today a lot of disabled activist groups actually are arguing that we don't require any of your sympathy or your kind of support, but what is actually important is to please recognize as equal citizens, recognize as somebody who is capable and competent to participate in the society like any of you. In that sense, okay, there is a kind of a shift in the discussion from merely welfarist and kind of providing support to that of empowerment and to that of talking about the political rights and social rights kind of things in today's discussion. Okay. Certainly, disabled people actually require a lot of medical kind of support. It's not one is denying that there is no requirement of medical support or health services. There is certain kind of biological or physical kind of a limitation in terms of how they are able to use their own kind of bodies, but apart from providing those basic kind of healthcare provisions, what is required is to provide access to all these disabled people free health services, which is something that state actually is important in terms of providing these provisions. And now a lot of disabled organizations and activists actually have been talking about how with the neoliberal kind of capitalism, the emphasis in terms of inclusion and incorporating the disabled people into work, employment and profession actually is taking a different route altogether. However, the counter kind of examples that have come in terms of the corporate sector, where a lot of disabled people are being today recruited into certain kinds of jobs because they actually do not question, they actually can be made to work for longer hours, they can be actually made to do very arduous tasks which other people cannot perform, and in that sense there is again exploitation of the disabled people in the name of mainstreaming them, in the name of bringing them and integrating them with the normal society. So the way capitalist ethos actually or market ethos work towards a possibility of generating market based on the disabled kind of people and their kind of abilities that can be harnessed within the capitalist society. Hence, activists actually are saying that all these categories that we are talking about, the discrimination, exclusion, marginalization, segregation of the people, exploitation of the disabled people, these are all concerns which are concerns like the concerns of lower class people. So there can be the way state and civil society need to think about disabled people is not that talk these people as something special population, but there are certain class dimension to disabled kind of people as well. And as a solution, I think a lot of activists actually have been pointing out, saying that legal provisions need to be formulated more effectively. Unless these institutional mechanisms which have to be put in proper place, where the entitlements and the legal rights actually are enshrined within the constitution, within the legal kind of a structures, it's not possible for these people to actually point out the subtle discrimination that goes on, subtle ways of actually ridiculing these people. In fact, most of the popular media, whether it is electronic media or entertainment industry, including the Hindi film industry and local language film industries, actually have been stereotyping these disabled people as somebody who are evil, who are wicked, who are good for nothing. All kinds of stereotypical images are created in the media, both in the print version as well as in the electronic version, which is again creating a different kind of identity for them. And therefore the activist groups are actually saying that it is something that at every level, okay, the responsibility to address the concerns of these people. Okay, so in brief, the very question of ability and disability needs to be understood more comprehensively. Ability of a person actually is determined based on the power structure, where certain classes and certain kind of social groups actually are determining what that ability is. And when you look at the entire discourse of the disability, which is about welfareist, which is about helping them out, I think that is being actually increasingly challenged. And therefore disability scholars actually have gone to the extent saying that, please doctor, don't help me, okay, we would actually require our dignity, our status, our kind of abilities recognized, rather than simply actually treat our bodies as as passive. Okay, so these are all the important questions which sociology raises, saying that it's not simply about providing medical care, but how do we actually make these categories of people also participate in the society with dignity. And that is one of the important tasks that sociologists actually also have been articulating through this kind of discourse on disability. And we do there are actually references which are given at the end of the module. You can also move to web links. There are a lot of videos which are available online for people to actually see and reflect, and through that I think one could actually see how sociology today is more relevant in understanding different class, different categories of people in the society. Thank you.